Greetings, everyone. I'm Reverend Deborah Johnson, also known of as Rev D, and welcome. Welcome to Inner Light Ministries to our weekly virtual offering. Let's just take a breath, huh? Ooh, let's take a breath. If you're looking at this in quote unquote real time, we're at the end of the year. And what a year 2024 has been. Woo! We need to just keep taking a few breaths. We're going to be talking today about peace as a verb. Peace as a verb. You know, this is that time of year when the people are doing a lot of well wishing. We are looking at New Year's resolutions. We are evaluating the things that have happened in the past. And that idea of, let there be peace, peace on earth, it's become almost a salutation, and sometimes I think it's lost its savor. So we want to remind ourselves a bit about what really is this thing called peace, and what is it about. At Inner Light, we are about healing. We're about transformation on both the personal, the individual level, as well as the collective level. We're here to reveal our deepest inner light and to allow ourselves to be healed by the energy of love. We're an extraordinarily eclectic, diverse cross section of individuals and organizations from all over. From all over. We don't have a particular doctrine or creed that you have to pledge allegiance to. We just accord with life. We accord with nature. We practice and teach the things that are universal. Those truths, those principles that cut across time or history or culture or tradition or religion. So if you hear us talk about things and you go, oh, wow, that really sounds like this, or that reminds me of the 12-step programs. Well, yeah, gee, I learned that from my Buddhist teacher. Well, yeah, gee, that really resonates a lot with, what we understand in, Wicca or with our pagan traditions. Yeah, it's that too. Or all of the above, or I remember that from Sunday school. Yeah, there's only one of us here, just one presence, one power, known by many different names, but it's just the one energy. That's all that it is. So we come here and we embody the spiritual oneness. We appreciate the individualized expressions. Yes, the unique, authentic, one of a kind you. And we honor all paths that lead to spiritual fulfillment, to environmental sustainability and regeneration, that lead to social justice, equity, and inclusion. All of that. So we take a breath. And this is our time of affirmative activations. We provide tools for living that encourage the practical application of universal spiritual principles to all of life's circumstances. They are 100 words to change your life, 100 words to go deeper into your own being. They are principles and practices. They're new paradigms and precepts, ways of having new perceptions about things. And if you come back to them and repeat them and let them find a resting place in your heart, your soul, they'll grow roots and bear fruit that's ever so sweet. Ever so sweet. So we're talking today about peace as a verb. I'll tell you where I got that from as we get into the message. These affirmative activations are about to come on your screen. And if you were able to join me, I'd like you to say them out loud with me right now. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. I am a peacemaker, one who first finds the peace of God in myself. Peace is the vibratory field that radiates through and around me. Peace anchors my awareness and informs my every action. Seeing the value in everyone, I defile no one. Listening comes easily. Compassion is habitual. Patient and fair-minded, I am known for reconciliation. In my presence, people drop their guards, open their hearts and minds. Drinking waters of living grace, I am a breath of fresh prayer. I embody peace as my life's path. Breathe that in. Breathe that in. And notice if there's anything that's really calling out to you. Maybe it's peace is the vibratory field that radiates through and around me. Maybe it's I embody peace as my life's path. Notice if there's anything that you're questioning or you're resisting. Maybe something like, in my presence, people drop their guards, open their hearts and minds. Or seeing the value in everyone, I defile no one. So whether it's something that's jumping out at you like, yes, 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 or I'm not so sure about that one yet. They both have value, particular value. So as you come back, I want you to do them all and pay particular attention to where you resonate and where you resist. There's a blessing in both. Let's take a breath. We are inviting into our space to just help set the tone for our receptivity for the message. We're inviting in an offering from Karen and Trucker.
In beauty, may I walk all day long. May I walk through the seasons. May I walk. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. On this path, may I walk through my life. May I walk in old age. May I walk. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. May I walk, may I walk. stillness. May I walk in forgiveness. May I walk in loving kindness. May I walk. May I walk. May I walk in peace. In peace. May I walk. May I walk in peace. In peace. May I walk. 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 May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. In peace. May I walk in peace. In peace. May I walk. May I walk in peace. In peace now. May you walk. May you walk. Always walk in peace. In peace. May we walk. May we walk in peace.
Let's just breathe that in. May I Walk in Beauty by Karen Drucker. Thank you. So often we externalize peace. We think of it as some far off thing that we try to obtain. It's external. And there's so many different ways that we look at peace. But I want to make it clear that peace is not just the absence of conflict. That's not it. It's fallacious to think that war can ever create peace. Now, to a certain extent, it's true that, violence can stop violence from the standpoint that if you do enough of it, you just kill each other off and it's going to stop someplace. But violence never creates peace. Okay, war doesn't create peace. The conflict doesn't stop with the violence because conflict is a matter of consciousness. Listen to what I'm saying. That it's not the differences that cause the conflict. It's the polarization around the differences. And then we use all kinds of weapons and defensive mechanisms and all these other things to try to protect this otherness that we're feeling, to try to make ourselves feel safe. We confuse borders with boundaries. We set up boundaries so that we can stay in relationship with each other. Okay. The borders keep us apart. So make certain that in your thinking that you're setting a boundary, you're really not setting up a border. What is going to be the ultimate result of whatever it is that you're doing? The English language is tricky here. And I often speak of this, where we're using the exact same words for the end result, the final product, the effect, and we're also using the same word for the causation, for the activity that brings it into being. Like, I'm in a building, but it took the process of building, the activity of building, to have a building. And yet, most of the time, we're just focused on the end product, the thing, the building, and we forget that it took building to get the building. It's the same thing with love. We externalize love. We're chasing after love as though it's something that we can get, but we know that love is also a verb. It's not just a noun. It's not just something we obtain, but it's something that we have to be. It's something that we have to do. Well, it's the same thing with faith. Most of us are trying to like obtain faith, get faith, but you have to be faith as an action. And so it is with peace. Okay. Peace is a verb. It's a verb. It's an activity. It's a vibration. Okay? And don't even think of a vibration as a noun. Vibrations vibrate. Okay, there's action that's taking place. And if we ever want to experience peace, individually or collectively, we have to be its vibration. You can't experience anything, creativity, balance, wholeness, trust, truth, courage. You can't experience it. You can't just bring it into your life. You have to be it. And here's the news flash. You are a verb. Just let that sink in for a moment. You are a verb. You're not just an entity. You are a verb. You are a place of activity. Life is happening in, through, and as you. So all of these spiritual qualities that we talk about, peace and love and wholeness and faith and courage and strength and balance, it's who you are. It's who you are. As it says in scripture, God has not given us a spirit of fear, of timidity, of cowardice, but of dunamis, of power, of pure capacity, of possibility, of love, that agapeo connection, love, and a sound mind, that the self-discipline to be able to use our powers out of love. That's the spirit that we have been given. In what we refer to as the Beatitudes, which is the beginning of the section of the Bible that we refer to as the Sermon on the Mount. It's found in Matthew chapter 5. This is the blessed are they. And one of my favorite of the Beatitudes is blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And that word peacemaker only shows up that one time in the Bible. It's actually a made up word where it combines a couple of concepts. And contrary to what we might think, this peacemaker is not a mediator. This peacemaker is not one who goes into adversarial situations and then gets these people to get over their differences by dealing with them at the level of their difference. That's not what this peacemaker is. This peacemaker is one who has found so much peace internally that by their very presence, they are the peace. They are that, and then that impacts and influences everybody around. It reminds me of that difference that I speak of sometimes, of that difference between into and unto, that when we go into things, we are aware of how those things are going to impact us. But when we go unto things, it's the other way around. When we go unto things, those things are impacted by us. See, it is done unto you as you believe. Okay. You take your beliefs with you, and then your beliefs are impacting everything that is around, including your perceptions and your sense of your experience. Blessed are the peacemakers. They should be called the children of God. And they're called the children of God because that word children is the Greek word huios, which is the exact same word that's always used to describe Jesus as the Son of God. It's just in the plural. Okay? It means in the same likeness and character. It's not a blood lineage. It means that you so emulate and you so represent that. And it makes so much sense. Blessed are the peacemakers, the ones who know that peace deep from within. They shall be called the children of God because they are walking around being that vibratory essence of what the divine is. Let that sink in for a moment. I'd like to share something with you. I'm going to share a reading with you. It's from a letter called Peace is a Verb, from my book, Your Deepest Intent, which is volume 2 of the Letters from the Infinite series. These are just downloads. They're spiritual downloads that come in the form of letters. This piece is a verb. I'm going to be reading from the middle of it. If you have that particular book, I'm reading from sections 5, 6, and 7 in that. So I invite you to just take a breath, just relax into it. And you might even want to close your eyes if you want to, but just feel into this vibration. I'm going to share it with you as close to as I can remember what it was like receiving this letter. This is in the middle of the letter. It says, the vibratory pattern of peace is non-defensive. It cannot be engaged at the level of conflict because it understands conflict to simply be the friction of fiction. This peace refuses to be engaged at the level of separation and otherness. This vibratory pattern rises above the hypnotic suggestion and sees it for what it is. Mere human race consciousness hypnotizing itself into an illusionary otherness. This piece is pure. It has no hidden agendas. In this piece, there's room enough for everyone to be cared for and nurtured. This activity of peace is compassionate. It doesn't engage in judgment and blame. Its essence is about revealing the sacred and the pure. When this energy of peace exists, there's a sense of possibility, even when people are not feeling personally safe. I'm going to say that again. When this energy of peace exists, there's a sense of possibility, even when people may not be feeling personally safe. There's a sense that divine order will prevail. There's an understanding that in this peace, resolution of the conflicts may not look like anything previously conceived. Openness to new insights is a driving force of peace. Whereas when peace is objectified, goals are predefined. Then the processes to reach those goals are created and implemented. Oh, but in my peace, there's no preconception other than divine order. Peace will be the end when it becomes the means. I'm going to say that again. Peace will become the end when it becomes the means. It is good to be a person who is not engaged in the energy of war. However, to not be engaged in the energy of war does not necessarily mean that you have engaged in the energy of peace. The energy of peace starts with you. You can't feel safe with other people unless you feel safe with yourself. Unless you feel safe with me. Do you feel safe with me? Do you feel safe with me? Do you trust my perfect plan? Do you trust that I am good all of the time in spite of all conditions and circumstances? Do you believe there is enough? Enough for you and everyone else? Are you afraid that you will somehow be left out? Do you feel like you need to get there first? Hoard what you get? Put it under lock and key to make certain that nobody else uses what's yours? And this goes for so much more than just material possessions. What about your heart? What about your love? Are you available for divine possibility? Is your consciousness open? Or are you riveted in your own opinion? Are you willing to discover that you are wrong if it means that everything will turn out right? I'm going to say that again. Are you willing to discover that you were wrong if it means that everything else will turn out right? Are you willing to forgive even when you can't see any justice in sight? Are you willing to leave the justice to me? These are the things that you need to focus on individually and collectively. These are the things that you need to focus on individually and collectively. Turn to your own heart. Turn to your own consciousness. Don't make peace something outside of yourself. Understand that peace is at the very core of your being. Understand that it is your essence because it is the stuff out of which I am made. Understand that peace is the action and not merely the result of the action. Peace is cause and not just effect. Are you a place of peace? Are you a place of peace? Are you a place of peace? Think on these things. The answer to that last series of questions is yes. However, for it to make a real difference in your life, you must know that you are a place of peace. I love you. I love all of you. And please remember that drama is truly optional. Breathe that in. Just breathe that in. Can't wait. We can't wait till everything out there feels safe. We can't wait until we feel like we know what the outcomes are going to be. But we can be sure of what's going to happen before we feel at peace. Our ego gets into that, feeling like if it can control it, if it knows what's going to happen, then I can relax. Like, then I can be at peace. But it's the other way around. And I say this over and over and over again. It's about all of it. The gratitude, the love, the peace, the forgiveness. We want to put it on the back end. We want to make it what happens once other things have already happened. It's not like that. It's upfront. We start with it. You have to choose peace. You have to choose it as your own internal frequency. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I have had a lot of trouble over these past couple of months or so on the peace front. The socio-political environment sometimes can make me beyond nuts. I can just get incredulous. Like, how in the world can this even be going on? And pissed. I mean, sometimes I would just get into some pissosity about those whom I perceived enabled a lot of this stuff to happen. But I'm committed. I'm committed to living my life off the drama triangle, off of the victim, villain, hero triangle. Now, that's not to say that people are not victimized. That's not it. But if that's the only identity, then you're gonna miss the empowerment that's before all of us to do. There's a lot of giving, extra giving that happens, for example, during this end of the year. If you see an unhoused person, don't give to them out of pity. Don't give just out of their quote unquote like dire circumstance. You give to them as an act of empowerment. You could have a child that's being molested or abused or another family member. And I'm not saying that that's not happening, but if you only see a victim, you're missing the power that's there. And you don't want those people to, or your own self, to internalize that as an identity, because you're more than that. You're more than that. And when we don't remember that we are more than that, we can't connect to that peace that's within us. That peace that says, I may not understand everything that's going on. I certainly can't control everything that's going on. But just because I'm not in control doesn't mean it's out of control. Just because I'm not in control doesn't mean that it's out of control. Okay? There's a phrase that's popular that God makes a way out of no way. And I really try to stop myself from even saying that. Because it isn't that God makes a way out of no way. It's that God doesn't need my way to make a way. There's a big difference. There's a big difference, because when we can't see the way, we declare it to be no way. But that's not true. Spirit always has something greater in mind. This is true at every level, including all of our personal, interpersonal, global relationships. It can look like there's just no way. There's just no way that we're ever going to get over this divisiveness. It just doesn't seem like there's ever a way that we're going to be able to tone it down and to live in the peace and the togetherness. But that's a choice. That's a choice. Don't create a narrative that you don't want to live. Okay? Now, it may be challenging. I remember, I love the way one of my colleagues put it. She said, now I love everybody, just some people with a little more difficulty. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. I'm not saying that you have to be just and never feel anything. What I'm saying is to choose to transcend it. Okay. Choose to rise above it. Don't let your pettiness, your angers, your resentments, your disappointments, disillusionment, whatever that, don't let it have the last word. Don't let it have the last word. Don't let it be your highest vibration and frequency. No. 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 If you're willing to dare to claim yourself as the peace, do you feel the difference in that? Whether you see it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you're feeling it or not, whether you just claim it. Claim it as the who you are. As the who you are. And that's where I stand. And that's where I'm asking you to stand. And I want to end on a story I know that I've told before, but it's like a benchmark for my own personal practice. It's the story of a Buddhist monk. He was a friend of Thich Nhat Hanh's. This monk had been imprisoned by the Chinese for over 30 years, tortured, all kinds of horrific things. In an interview after the monk's release, he was asked by the reporter, when you were in prison, were you ever afraid? And the monk is like, oh, yes, yes, for certain. There were many times that I was afraid. What were you most afraid of? He was asked. He said, I was afraid that I would lose my compassion for the Chinese. That's deep. He was afraid that he was going to lose his compassion for the Chinese. Because if he lost that, they would have won. If he lost his compassion for the Chinese, he would no longer be a monk, which was the whole point, to try to break him and discourage other people from being what he was. And that resonates so deep in my heart, and I bring it up now because this will become my fear sometimes, that I'm afraid I'm going to lose my compassion. And I found myself slipping there for a while. I'm not even gonna lie. And it's not like me because I'm always doing like cross stuff or whatnot. But woo, right after that election, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to have any I didn't want to have any discussions about why people voted the way that they did or how can we build the bridges. Nope, not in those first couple of weeks. But I'm committed. I'm committed. I am committed to my true core beliefs that there's only one of us here. Okay, so I can't other from you because at some level, everybody's a part of me. I'm having a flash now of when I was at the slave dungeons in Cape Cod, outside of Accra in Ghana. It's just energetically and it's just horrific. And literally, I can trace some of the white side of my family literally to the Mayflower. And I'm looking at this. Okay, my DNA is like 2/3 African diaspora and a third European, primarily English. It's like, the surprise. Um, but I was there, and I'm telling you, I was like, it's like I blew a fuse because I felt such overwhelming sadness of these two sides of my lineage. The slave ships, the early, pioneer ships, these different ships coming to the United States. And even now I'm finding myself going where I couldn't, that part of me that wanted to be outraged about, like, how could they do this to people? How could any do this to people? It's like, those are my people. Those were my people doing stuff to my other people. And this place of reconciliation and all the rest of this peace stuff, it's not just them. Yep. I've been struggling with all of these different aspects and even more within my own self. So literally, Literally, there's only one of us here. And all the blood of everybody is running through us. Because if you go back far enough, we're all related. Peace is a verb. We'll have it when we're ready to be it. And I want to invite you into that. Let's take it to prayer. Like the song says, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let it begin with me. Let it be my decree, my proclamation, my cornerstone, my foundation. I allow the peace that I am to so resonate and to so vibrate that it runs free. Just like water, it's malleable and it just topples over all of the rocks and goes up underneath the cracks and the crevices. As Lao Tzu says in the Tao Te Ching, nothing is as soft and as yielding as water. But for overcoming the hard and the inflexible, none can surpass it. The soft overcomes the rigid. Everybody knows this, but how few put it into practice. We take a breath. I can hear that song, Rolling River God, in my head now. How I'm a stone, so smooth, rough, and grainy still. Oh, as that water washes over, I'm just a little smoother in your hands. The Rolling River God, we pray to be a little smoother in your hands. To have the courage, to have the strength, to keep our hearts open, our minds open. The strength to keep showing up and caring and loving, believing, envisioning. As we breathe into this moment, as we're ending this extraordinary year, we say thank you. Thank you for having brought us from such a mighty long way. Thank you for all the lessons that are ahead of us, knowing that each and everything that we encounter strengthens us. Each and everything gives us an opportunity to build more spiritual muscle. We give thanks for the gymnasium of life. And we know that peace is amongst the heavy lifting. And we're ready. We're ready. We pray for peace everywhere. In our own lives, in our families, in our communities, in our jobs, around the world. Peace. 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 peace, sweet peace. As we take another breath, we speak a word. We speak a word for the grieving hearts. At this time of year, so many are sloughing off the mortal coil. And we know that with this release can come sadness for those who feel like they've been somehow left behind. Peace. Peace to everyone. Peace to those who've crossed over, finding higher expressions of life. Peace to those who are still in the mortal coil. Peace. We pray for peace in all of our affairs, right action, divine order everywhere. Financially, in our physical bodies, in our emotional bodies, in our body politic, everywhere. With all the prayer requests that have come in, we know that Spirit is showing up as guidance, as direction, as clarity, as strength and courage. It's coming through as wholeness and balance, of reconciliation and inspiration. It's showing up as this and so much more. So we just get out the way, knowing that God doesn't need our way. We yield to something bigger and greater than we can ever even imagine. Create in us a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within us. It is done. We get out of the way. We allow it to be. And so it is. So it is. As we take a breath, we know we're a praying community here. A praying community. Reach out. You can give us a call at 831-465-9090 at extension 254. You can send us an email, the word prayer, the number 4, and then the word prayer at innerlightministries.com. And one of our prayer practitioners will get back to you. All in confidence. No charge. Of course, donations are always appreciated. And, you know, even if it's not something bad and you just need somebody to stand with you in the awareness and the knowledge of divine right order and action, you don't have to do it alone. We are here. We're here. And it is our pleasure to hold that space with you. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We so appreciate you being with us now and a part of the spiritual community. If you are in the Santa Cruz area, there are a couple of things that I invite you to. This coming Sunday, it will also be streaming on on YouTube. So if you're not in Santa Cruz, you can still come. It's going to be our monthly gathering that we have at the first Sunday of every month at the Resource Center for Nonviolence on Ocean. It is at 3:00. And we have yummy treats. Afterwards, we break bread together. Yasmina and her African dance church is going to be with us. So there'll be lots of rhythm and music and celebration and prayer as we ring in this new year on January the 5th. And also, speaking of rhythm, there is a drum circle. This will be in person exclusively, but there's an in person drum circle in honor of Kathy Miles, who passed away. And it was over our drum circle for many years, for many years, along with so many so many other things that she was doing. And it's 2 to 4 on Monday, December the 30th. That's tomorrow. If you're looking at real time, at the Senior Center, 222 Market Street in Santa Cruz. Jim Greiner will be there. You can bring your own drum. There will be drums that are there, and just be a good time in celebration. Check out our calendar for the different things that are going on and that are happening. Life is good, you know. God is God is really, really good. So we take a breath, and I say thank you for the gifts and the year-end, tithes and offerings. There's a Santa's list that we have circulating out there as well, for just some tech items that'll make a difference, particularly with the streamers, as we bring in some computers and TVs and different things into our office. Um, and if you contact us directly, you can even contact me at our number 831-465-9090 at extension 202. And I'll make sure that you get all of that directly. There is an opportunity for you to make a contribution right now. As you'll see on your screen, that there are different ways that you can be Santa with us. You can scan your QR code that's there. Use any debit, credit card. There's also a text to give at 831-231-0065. Both of those have reoccurring option I'd like to encourage you to use. And with the text to give, you can do not only debit cards, credit cards, but if you want to go directly from an account, you can do that with that particular method as well. And once you're on it and set up, next time around, you don't have to do anything, but just dial the number and put in whatever amount that you want. If you're on the website, you can press the button to donate. Cash App's another mobile way to do it. And if you want to mail it in, our mailing address is there. But just a reminder, no parcels. That's a P.O. box. If you want to do parcels, please contact us directly about that. I can't say thank you enough, honestly, because we are an independent spiritual community. There's no membership. It's everybody who shows up and who participates. And that includes those of you who are online right now. If any of this is resonating with you and you want to help to multiply the consciousness, we say thank you. Thank you for your gift. And we want to remind you that it's not a one-way street, that not only do we circulate money that comes to us, we give as we ask you to give, but it also will return to you. Okay? We receive with the same graciousness that we give. Okay, and your generosity blesses you. It blesses you. So, take a breath. Take a breath. And we say thank you. And as always, we have a motto. We are sincere about this. Like, wherever you are, in whatever it is you are doing, take this consciousness and multiply it.